It's not a fun subject, but I think it's worth addressing for the folks that have experienced it, are experiencing it, and also to help the majority of us, of course, to stay out of it. Bankruptcy. Hello and welcome to the Durham Talents channel. My name is Jesse Durham. For today's quick take, I want to talk about bankruptcy. Now, there are some examples I want to use right off the bat. Dave Ramsey. Because let me preface by saying I have conversations with folks that are ready to become their own banker, and as we're going through our consultations, we figure out that, hey, yeah, so many years ago I had this bankruptcy, or maybe somebody's even talking to me now and they're saying, Jesse, I'm not in the best financial situation now. Something might be in collections, or something was repossessed here. I mean, just there's a broad spectrum. Okay, I'll talk with anybody for free to have that first initial consultation to try and help out best I can for those that are interested in becoming your own banker. Okay. But there are some examples. Here's where I wanted to get to first, was in saying that there are some examples like the Dave Ramseys that show the light at the end of the tunnel. That's possible. Okay. If we've made mistakes or just things have happened, let's learn from what has happened. You know, I should have started maybe with my own first personal story of years ago. I was an independent contractor with a company in the travel space that went bankrupt during 2020. Y'all might know something about, what happened to travel in the year 2020 here in the U.S. and elsewhere, I suppose, of course. And that was an experience that I had that was very interesting. But here we are, and the Dave Ramseys of the world will talk about, I believe he said before that it's something akin to divorce, or maybe it's only second to divorce to experience bankruptcy. It's just this emotionally and spiritually and psychologically, draining, depleting, degrading circumstance. Okay. But look at the businessman that he is. Look at the redeeming story that he provides of, okay, lessons learned, got it, moving forward. So I just want to give some due to Dave Ramsey in particular, because I have to address often enough misconceptions or myths or mysteries around. We actually have a playlist just about that kind of stuff where he is talking about whole life in an unkind way, actually, for many people that either own whole life, sell whole life companies, uses nasty names. Dave, I wish you wouldn't do that. But I appreciate your books and I appreciate your story, and he provides that for us here with the context of bankruptcy. There are others. Disney. I believe that Walt Disney went bankrupt more than once. And of course, we have Disney being the name brand, the household name that it is today. Actually, Walt Disney used, I believe it was 2 whole life insurance policies to fund his Disneyland idea, which was not the normal for theme parks in his day and time, to have clean, family-oriented theme parks. It was a wild concept, and he couldn't get funding in the conventional way for everything that he wanted to do to be able to launch that idea, but he could with whole life policy. So that's an interesting thought. But either way, we have examples in life, and for those that have not read yet, R. Nelson Nash's book, Becoming Your Own Banker, he's talking about his own story where he has about $500,000, and this is back in, so that's a lot of money, even more money back then in the 80s, whenever it was. He had $500,000. It actually ended up being closer to $800-something thousand total, because he had one of his partners in a deal that backed out of it, and there he was stuck with an additional $250,000 or whatever it was. But anyway, a good portion towards $1 million in debt, and he did not go bankrupt. He was able to figure out a way to deal with that issue. That's just how, again, I'm not passing judgment. I'm just relating his story. I've never experienced bankruptcy personally myself, so I feel for anyone who has, and I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to talk to folks that want to avoid that type of a financial hardship and many others, and you could do it by becoming your own banker. Here's what Nelson found out. Nelson figured out that, okay, not just to get out of this debt, do I need to, batten down the hatches and tackle this. He did say that there was a need to do some honest introspection on his spending habits and et cetera. Do some honest introspection. Sure, we need to own up to what we need to own up to. learn those lessons, and apply. But what he figured out was very unconventional. He figured out that he needed to be paying, because he was paying pretty significant premiums into whole life policies at that time, because he figured out that even in his financial duress, he was able to access capital at great interest rates in an environment that was, I believe it was it 23% interest? Ridiculous interest rates at that time. He was able to access at like 5% and 8% and things like that were able to. But what he figured out was that he was limited by the amounts of premiums that he had paid into whole life policies. So here on our channel and podcast, we talk about owning and operating using properly structured whole life policies with mutual companies that pay dividends for the purpose of becoming your own banker. We've been practicing this concept for the better part of a decade. We own 6 of these policies. And again, we've never personally experienced bankruptcy, but we've experienced some ups and downs in growing a family and building a business and pursuing careers and owning and operating a household and all the things that happen in life. We've experienced financial ups and downs. And in having a private monetary system during those ups and downs, it's a beautiful thing to control the banking function in your life. Back when we had a car note, for example, back when we had student loans and these types of things. I mean, if I didn't pay a car payment, that car could be repoed, that car could be collected, and it'd just be pulled out from under me. When you control the banking function and you hit a financial hardship, you have this private monetary system to be able to address it. So that's what Nelson figured out, was that he needed to be paying more significant premiums. It's counterintuitive. We think, pay off the debt, and we're told, pay off the debt, pay off the debt. And again, Dave Ramsey is somebody that would speak to that voraciously. Get out of debt. But what Nelson figured was that actually he needed to be funding an asset, leveraging that asset to pay off that liability of the debt first. So that's my quick take on bankruptcy. I want to say that, hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel. If you are experiencing that, have experienced that, there's light at the end of the tunnel. If you'd like to avoid financial hardships, I'm just going to encourage you to consider that being your own banker, having that control, having that profitability in your life can help you, and you can do it. I'd love to help you get started. If you'd like to have a free consultation, you can get in my schedule at www.durhamtalents.com. And this has been a great conversation for me. I look forward to our next conversation. Have a great day.